It's about 30 minutes past the hour of 10. You're watching Business Morning coming to you live from Channels Television. Well, I'll go straight to our topic for the day, which is Nigeria's unemployment rates, looking at the crumbling labor force. And to talk about this with us on the show is Mike Adeleye. He is a human capital development expert. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me again.
Now, whenever we talk about unemployment, it's a recurrent issue, really. We can never stop talking about it, in as much as we want to move forward.
Sure.
But we're now in the second half of the year. What have we done so far since the beginning of the year in tackling this menace?
Thank you very much. I think I would love to start on the government policy and the project that was actually implemented a few years ago, which is the Sure Pay GIS. The purpose of that project, obviously, is to be able to reduce the unemployment rate in the country by way of giving the graduates who doesn't have working experience the experience to be able to build on their competency to be able to have the opportunity to gain employment. Now, what I actually found in that is, I've been advocating for this for a few years, even before it came into being, because this is what happens in other climes, especially in the West. Now, the GIS is a fantastic program, but what I actually want to speak about is the way that it's been implemented. It is not well pronounced, if I may use that word, because if you do a survey now or do a poll and to find out how many employers in the country actually are aware of that program, you'll be stunned that very little actually know about it. Now, if you move on to the job seekers themselves and try to find out, do you ever know anything about the GIS? They will tell you they have no idea. Now, when this program actually came into being a few years ago, they ran quite a few adverts on the television and other medium, but at this point in time it stopped. So, and obviously if more people doesn't have the awareness of that this program is been in place, then who will benefit and how are they going to benefit of it? So now, what I'm trying to say now in here is that program, a fantastic program, but it is, the awareness is not out there. So it is not really tackling the problem that it's been put at it for.
So you say the government should be held responsible for this?
I think so, yes, because we should have a lot of network out there actually trying to bring this into the awareness of the public. And also, we should be blaming our politicians as well. Let me say this quickly. The federal government brought out this initiative, which is great. But the question is, what are state governments, local governments, our representative in the House, National House of Assembly, States House of Assembly, why can't they take advantage of these policies and begin to, they represent a constituency, right? Why can't they tap into this policy and begin to amass all these people within their constituency and say, this is a program going on, go and register. It's simple, it's free. And the government is even paying more than a minimum wage. I mean, because how it works is, how the whole project works are this. An employer finds you on a portal, the GIS portal. If they like you and they employ you, the government will be paying 30,000 naira every month to that candidate or that job seeker. So the employer doesn't even have to pay anything except they want to add some stipend onto that money. So why can't people take advantage of it? So if it's not been properly implemented, the awareness has been out there, then the whole purpose of the project becomes invaluable.
Now this brings to focus sustainability of policies of government, and also the issue of being able to implement policies to the letter.
Sure.
How have we been able to do this, especially when we look at the various reforms that have been put in place by subsequent government, and even the present government of President Goodluck Jonathan? How sustainable are these policies to drive growth through the creation of jobs?
Quite a few numbers of things to do. Now, I I think I did about 3-year research into the Nigerian labor force, and to be honest with you, it's crumbling. And I'll tell you why it's crumbling. Nigeria has a local content act, which came into being, launched by the president in 2010. Now, what this is supposed to do to the economy is to build local competencies, right? Skill acquisition. But what we see nowadays is, you see, this is my industry, for example. I've been in this human capital development for about 18 years now. Of course, the majority in the UK. Now, what I see in here, I mean, it's one thing trying to have a policy. We have a policy of the local content, which is not properly implemented, no enforcement to actually see what's going on in there. We have a policy of trying to bring in foreign investors into the economy, which is fantastic, but where are the policies that actually monitors all these investors coming in, that they're not actually taking advantage of the workforce, because we have a huge unemployment rate. Right now, we have another way whereby most employers in this country, they don't train their staff. So how are you going to gain a skill while you're working? Now, there's a policy within the labor law which says if you have a number of staff working with you, you must train them. But an employer will shy away from that responsibility and don't train their staff, right? Now, how would you expect such a staff who works with you for a number of years, how will you expect that staff to grow? Now, another one is you look into the areas whereby most employees in this country are being exposed to health hazards. I see it day in, day out. Now, what is the Ministry of Labor and Productivity doing about this as well? A lot of people come into my office, for example, and plead and say, sir, can you get me out of here? Because when I go through here, it's so bad. Okay. All this put together is not going to help our labor force.
Okay, I want to believe that some companies, some employers do train their staff, maybe not to the expected standards that are required.
Yeah.
But how does this affect competitiveness of those workforce? Even within this space and perhaps on the international arena, how do all of this affect the productivity as a whole?
Well, the quality of the training matters most. Now, if you have, I've been to quite a few number of organizations, large ones, and they actually told me, to my face, we don't have budget for training. We're only concerned about employment. Now, that's shocking. Why would a huge company that employs over 200, 500 staff tells you they don't have budget for training? Now, how do they expect them to be able to compete internationally when this acquisition is not there in the first place? So what we're trying to say here now is there should be the government policy. Every government, we have very good policies in place, but the enforcement and the implementation of those policies is the problem. Now, for us to be able to move forward to have skilled labor force that would drive this economy from where it is now into the future, we need to begin to look into all these policies and put enforcement into them. Or else, a lot of people, both local and international employers, will come and take advantage of the huge labor force, which is going to be second colonialism, if I may use that word.